But how can we understand today whether something that sparkles in your wedding ring or shines on a brooch, glimmers in earrings and flickers on a necklace was really extracted from the depths of the earth once? Or was it just chemically synthesized in a laboratory? The first synthetic gems were obtained at the end of the 19th century. These were synthetic rubies. Now, a century later, is it still necessary to check if a stone was naturally mined or synthetically produced?
Now it is more necessary than ever. Since then, both synthetic diamonds, emeralds, and alexandrites have appeared. There are many more synthetic gemstones nowadays.
So all these stones have become more popular in the market?
Exactly. Perhaps there are more synthetic rubies than synthetic diamonds, but any precious stone can be synthesized.
Ruby red, the color of blood, the color of love. It was the first stone created in a laboratory. And as for pearls in the 19th century, they started to be widely produced in China and Japan. A small grain of sand was placed in a clamshell, where it became covered with rainbow layers. It's hard to find naturally obtained pearls on the market nowadays, but there's more to it than just that. Today, you can make almost any precious or semi-precious stone in a laboratory. In addition to the vernal process, which is suitable for the production of rubies and sapphires, the Czochralski method is widely practiced. With its help, rubies, sapphires, and alexandrites are produced. Emeralds are created by using the flux and hydrothermal methods. Malachite and opal are grown using the synthesis of low-temperature aqueous solutions. And as for artificial diamonds, 3 techniques have been discovered: the high-pressure method, the detonation method, and the high-temperature and pressure method. So, let's imagine we have a precious gem and a synthesized gem produced in a lab. Do they differ in their chemical properties or their physical properties?
We can assume so because the synthetic one will have better color and there will be fewer impurities.
But the crystal structure, its chemical composition, physical properties.
Of course, people can grow exact replicas in the laboratory, and their composition and structure and properties are all exactly the same.
Can normal people who are not professionals spot the difference between a synthesized gemstone and a naturally mined one?
We can't determine this at home, we can't do it at the store, and this can't even be determined by a salesperson in a jewelry store. Even a jeweler can't tell. Only gemologists know how they can be distinguished.
But synthesized gemstones aren't the only way to make jewelry more affordable. There have been many inventors and craftsmen who have managed this feat, all for the sake of gemstones, for the sake of a sparkle, for the sake of love. Gemstones are only bright, shiny, and clear in the movies. But in real life, most of them don't look so pretty. But this can be fixed, and this process is called treatment. A treatment includes any impact on the precious stone, except cutting and polishing. So it includes dyeing, bleaching, oiling, treating with epoxy resin, diffusing, heating, irradiation, gamma, beta neutron, and a myriad of other processes. But of course, everything must be officially documented in the report supplied alongside the precious stone. Natural stones are denoted by the letter N. Stones refined by traditional, historically established methods. The methods of filling cracks, radiation, heating are marked with the letter E. If the method is unusual or rare, the stone must have the letter T. And all the processes used must be detailed. Well, now we have precious, semi-precious, and fake stones been presented to you in a slightly different way. God knows how many things have been done to precious stones to improve their appearance. Sometimes they might even be of completely unnatural origin. So what can we do? How can we spot an imitation? No one can identify the origin of a gemstone without special equipment. We need specialists and professional tools. Thankfully, there are such people. They are called gemologists. A A gemological laboratory is the place where your gems will be sent for analysis so you may learn the complete truth about your gems. A natural or lab-created ruby, treated sapphire with or without color saturation, an emerald process with an oil that hides cracks and defects, or a natural one left exactly as it was extracted from the earth. Diamonds, a girl's best friend, irradiated, which gives a blue, pink, or green hue. And there are assembled gemstones, that is, stones made up of smaller gems. They might be glued so strongly that even under a microscope you can't see the seam. The market for precious stones is huge and diverse, and there have been many innovators along the way. Who usually comes to the laboratory to have gemstones tested?
More often than not, it's jewelers who have already purchased and polished a gemstone, so they can come to the laboratory to persuade the buyers that the gem is natural and it wasn't synthetically produced.
Well, besides jewelers, who else?
Well, it might be the dealers who deliver gemstones. They can buy a sample gem from the supplier if they want to check if they're fake or not.
What makes up your expertise? First, when precious stones and jewelry are received, they are described and verified at the door. Many things can be identified immediately. Then comes a more detailed analysis, including spectroscopy, microscopic examination, and so on. By the way, all methods include physical impact on the jewels. Afterwards, a jewel report is written which states if the stone is natural or lab-created, processed or unprocessed, and if it was treated, it lists all the techniques used. Well, here are some jewels belonging to my family and friends. There's a certain amount of precious stones here. Can you take them to your laboratory and test them?
Yes, we can do just that. We can take them and conduct an analysis. We will test each stone.
If you take that much jewelry, how long will it take for you to make a report on them?
The testing itself takes 2 working days. Issuing the report takes a little longer. I mean, it'll take about 4 days in total, I'd say.
Four days later, we are back here at the gemological lab. And what did the examination determine?
We have reached a conclusion about the stones in your jewelry. They can be divided into roughly 3 groups. The first group is synthetically grown stones, as they are called, as well as glass, cubic zirconia, synthetic rubies, and so on. There is a big variety. The second group is natural stones, but they were treated.
So these stones were exposed to some kind of treatment?
Right. After they were cut and polished, they might have been heated or filled with an epoxy resin or plastics. Emeralds, for example, are usually filled with certain substances. And finally, we have natural stones that haven't been treated. They have been polished and then inserted into the jewelry. Here we have diamonds, garnet, tourmaline, amethyst, malachite, chalcedony, and natural quartz. There are many different kinds of stones here.
A couple of details for our better understanding. The sapphires in the earrings turned out to be synthetic. The ruby in the ring is not natural either. Absolutely all the emeralds in all the jewelry have traces of oil treatment. The amber was treated with high temperatures and pressure. The smoky quartz was lab-produced. The dark diamonds were irradiated to produce their unusual color. And the red stone in the brooch turned out to be glass. Well, what can I do? Nothing. Precious stones have always been used to indicate a person's social status, and the market will respond to consumer demands with different propositions.